Data science or economics? Neither. Data science always has been and always will be a fake thing. Data science. Man, I hear somebody say data science again. There's computer science. There's statistics. There's machine learning, I'll accept. Right? I used to not even accept that. Machine learning is just another phrase for AI. When AI was out of style, they needed to, you know, that's the remix of the DJ scratching the record. So you got AI, deep learning is just still AI. So you sort of have here. Let me show you how people handle this data science thing. Let me give you. All right, it's Big Skrells is back. You know what? I tried to be a new me. Okay, you got CS. That's computer science. Here you study things like complexity, finite state machines, type theory, okay, all kinds of boring stuff, right? It's all theoretical computer science. State, space, time trade-off, algorithmic analysis, church Turing, etc., etc. Okay, so that's CS. You probably don't want to study that. Then you got math. You can study a lot of different things in math, but you think you know what math is. You can study, I don't know, abstract algebra. You could study calculus. You could study topology. You could study so many different things in math. I don't know, graph theory, category theory. You know, lots of different advanced things you could study in math. And then there's statistics. Now, statistics is math, right? But it's not really math the way I was describing math. It's just like a very applied kind of, I want to call it simple, but it's less theoretical, very practical. Things like probability, measure theory, probability distributions, Bayesian inference. And now this is where we get into this blend. Okay, so this is now AI. And AI has sort of started in one place, which was important, which we'll call ML. And then AI sort of has grown into this new place. It's like almost grown a new branch called deep learning. My company's called DL Software, for what it's worth. And in ML, we all know a lot of this stuff, right? We've got k-means clustering. We've got support vector machines, things like that. You know, the classic ML algorithms. Decision boundaries, classifiers even I put in here, all that stuff, right? And deep learning, it's more about neural networks, RNNs, CNNs, transformers, diffusion models, this kind of stuff. So what the fuck is data science? Okay? Data science is basically over here. I'm putting it lower for a reason. Yeah, you don't learn much about pharma in medical school. It's interesting you mentioned that, Alex. It's totally true. Quantum computing kind of goes into here and then maybe branches off a little bit into physics. Data science is over here. It's sort of like too stupid for ML. Too stupid for ML or statistics. Run some presets. The programs on data. I guess, you know, data cleaning and stuff like that, you know, is important. Data collection, like that's a kind of still, in my opinion, belongs up here, but anyway.
Number theory is not going to make you great at computer science. It probably won't hurt to, and learning number theory is never a mistake, I'll say that. Learning number theory is always a good idea.
Who's more scummy, lawyers or politicians? Well, there's some good lawyers out there. So I'm going with politicians. But politicians is changing too. There's some okay politicians. Kamala Harris. I mean, whatever, like she reminds me of the prosecutors I met in my case. And humorless, although she laughs a lot. Probably my prosecutors are more humorless. She was more, you know, what I liked about Brooklyn, growing up in Brooklyn, is it was quiet. I mean, as a kid, I guess, like what I really like to do is just go to parks and stuff. Like, as a child or even a teenager, like there aren't too many hangout spots. Like you're not really hanging out, and as an adult, I kind of moved to Manhattan. So I mostly would spend a lot of time in Manhattan. Leading drug developers to follow, that's a really good question. There's, of course, a lot of notable people. Probably one of the more interesting ones is the CSO of Regeneron. Nootropics is not really a thing. No, nootropics aren't a thing at all. Let's see, TAC 653. TRD, AMPA. Yeah, I don't think AMPA is enough to give you cognitive benefits. And PAMs, quote unquote PAMs, are kind of not even really things. Usually the data falls apart in these things pretty quickly. How does one make $1 billion? That's the thing. I mean, I can tell you, a lot of people say, some guy asked me yesterday, Martin, when did you make your first 100 grand or 100 thou? It's an urban kid. It's okay, how much did you make? How old were you when you made your first mill? Like, listen, that's like the hustler's mindset. Start a business, and the business all of a sudden is worth 100 mil, and you own half of it. Well, it could take 2 years before it's worth 100 mil, but you could be penniless, and then 2 years later, you're worth what? 50 million, because your business is worth 100, and you own half. You still might not have anything in your bank account. 2 years go by, your business is worth 500 mil. Now you're worth 250. You're worth 250 million. You're probably the richest guy in your town, or one of them at least. Even in New York, that's a lot of money. You're worth 250 big M's, and you sell your company. Now you got 250 in your bank account. So when did you make your first mill? Is it the day you sold the company? Is it the day the company was valued? We're in it because we love the game.
A nigga like me, man, I love the game. I love the hustle, man.
Love us. Don't panic. This wasn't a big deal. We could get more declines or not more declines or something like that. But like if you're too long and you have no cash and no shorts, then you get what you deserve. Stock markets go down sometimes. If you're not prepared for that or you don't understand that, then now's a good time to figure that out. Would you guys want to see me in government? Should I run like the FDA or something? Would that be funny? Which government division should I run? Department of Justice? What's up, guys? It's me. I think we're gonna have to expunge this record. I could ask Vivek Ramaswamy to put me in. Put me in, coach. Martin, I don't think you're really qualified. Come on, Vivek. Come on, bruh. Come on, bro. You don't remember me? It's Skrelly. It's Skrelly, baby. Put me in, man. Martin, I just can't do that, Playboy. I just can't do it. Come on, man. You would probably do it if I was Indian, wouldn't you? Yes, I would. It's because I'm not a strong brown brother like you, Vivek. Oh, I'd love to be the head of the SEC. That'd be sick. Bloomberg's been a category leader for a really long time. And I've been a customer of Bloomberg for a long time, including right now, even though they banned me from using their product. I got out of prison. One of the first things I did is I called Bloomberg. I said, listen, I need my account back on. Let's go. I've been a customer since I was 16. And I said, Skrelly, we're not letting you make an account. I said, what? I said, it's over for you, Skrelly. We're not letting you have Bloomberg. I said, oh, really? Okay. So I get it through my buddy on the DL. I'm not supposed to have it. And yeah, it's really interesting. Bloomberg is a shadow of its former self, in my opinion, and their software shows that. I should actually log on to it right now and show you. Nobody likes Bloomberg, man. The software is kind of indispensable, but like nobody likes the company and the way they do business. Of course I want to take market share from Bloomberg. In fact, the thing about Bloomberg is that they have so many customers that are no longer with them. So if you wanted to sign up for Bloomberg, you can't just go to Bloomberg.com and get an account. Otherwise I would have one, right? You have to actually kind of do all this rigmarole that's insane. They have to come to you and visit with you and do a whole interview process before you're qualified to use the Bloomberg. It's just so ridiculous. Have you guys seen this guy, Jack Gamble? He calls himself Nobody Special Finance. There we go. There he is. So he thinks that CoreWeave, which is a $30 billion company, is like a front company for NVIDIA, and NVIDIA's sales are artificially increased because NVIDIA once upon a time invested in CoreWeave. But the guy doesn't know anything about finance. I don't even think his name is Jack Gamble, because if you Google Jack Gamble, There's no person that pops up. Like everyone has a paper trail, right? Look at these thumbnails. So he's trying to become a stock influencer, but he doesn't know anything about stocks, and it shows. Like he's been bearish on Nvidia, which is the best performing stock basically for the last few years. It's like the worst stock call of all time, basically. And the thing is with a lot of these financial influencers, because they're not real traders, they try to have it both ways, where they don't tell you to go short it, but they sort of show you these warning signs. And then if the stock goes down, they're like, see, I warned you, I told you so. But if the stock goes up a lot, which is what happened here, he can plausibly say, well, I never told you to short it, you know, and it's just like, say something sophisticated, but all he's got is like, he talks about silver. He never talks about like real financial stuff. You know, look at this garbage. Could you imagine a professional like doing this? How sad. So anyway, every time I tease him, he brings up my incarceration. And what I guess he like really doesn't understand. One, I'm proud of being a felon. Yes, I'm a rule breaker, a law breaker. I didn't do whatever they said I did, but if I did, I'm proud of it. Number two, he seems to have a problem with felons in general. And I think that one of the things we're learning in this new era is that lawfare does exist and that anybody can become a felon if they become important enough. Jack, unfortunately, has never been important, to anybody at any time. So he would never, ever come under scrutiny of any kind. By the way, I had a very successful career before I was accused of wrongdoing. So, and I'm very knowledgeable about this space, unlike the wannabes. So anyway, I just wanted to put you aware of that guy because he's a very creepy, weird dude. Oh, and I'm suing him. He said, Warren Buffett always said that your reputation is the most important thing, and you could ruin your reputation very, very quickly with mistakes. Now, I've hurt my reputation, but I haven't ruined it. And if you look at the people who follow me and who my friend circle is, I've got some of the most important people in the world following me and supporting me, and I'm very lucky for that. Having said that, if you say something about me that's defaming or slandering or something like that, I will take action. If you accuse me of lying, there was this token called MSI, and I'm still actually involved in it, but I didn't create it. And MSI was part of the hack that I experienced, or the exploit, or whatever you want to call it, the security incident 2 years ago. And I've been pretty adamant that we were hacked, and the guy's sort of accusing me of taking the money, and I have a big problem with that. I have no problem with calling each other, oh, you're a criminal, oh, you're a nobody, go back and forth. But if you say that I committed a crime when I didn't publicly, you're gonna hear from my lawyers. That's a big problem. Drug-like has been terminated. We didn't see the demand that we wanted, so we decided to move on to other products.
I'll just have to go straight to Trump. Treating me very unfairly, just like they did to you, Mr. President. Just like they did to you. Very unfairly. And they tried to make me look like the bad guy. The media, right? The media was working right with them. You know what I'm talking about. So now we get even. We put them in jail. No, wait. That would be like being like them. We don't do that. When they go low, we go sideways. How you're going to compete against Zuckerberg? Well, a lot of software companies compete against Zuckerberg. There's a new one called OpenAI you may have heard of. They've been doing pretty well. That runs a company called Perplexity. He's got a new billion-dollar company. There's another couple of software companies I know that were started less than 2 years old and now are billion-dollar companies. Our company isn't a billion yet, but I think it will be soon. So hopefully that clears that up. Our software company is called DL Software. We make text-to-speech software. I've never valued an energy company, no. We made text-to-speech software. I don't think SBF should do more than like 5 years, maybe. I think he should do a little time. Just nothing too crazy. He's already going to be very embarrassed. His life has got to have a lot of changes. So, And he's weak. He's not me. He's not Shkreli. He doesn't have that dog in him. I could do 5 years stand on my head. He can't do those 5 years, man. He can't do 15 or 20. That man is crumbling inside. He's not Albanian. Shout out to my dad one more time. Even my dad was worried when I was in prison. But I told him, my dad, I said, Burk Ashpur Bur, which is Albanian, that means jail is for men. And it's got a little alliteration there. And he kind of laughed and he said, don't say that. And I said, well, it's true, isn't it? Half of Albanian Americans go to jail at some points. We got a worse track record than black people. It was so sad. There's so many people, black people in jail. It's really tragic in my opinion, but what can you do? So Netrunner basically, the Netrunner situation was really funny. So Netrunner had, or has, I don't know, he's kind of a fraud, a project called Shog.ai. And since we were coming out with Shoggoth.ai, we just didn't want to collide with him. And we kind of liked him, I guess. Nobody really knew much about him. He kind of LARPs is kind of the conclusion that we came up with, is like, he's not really a programmer. He just LARPs about it. So I threw him some crypto, and I was like, look, don't sell this, man. Like, we're going to come out with this project and all this. I'm just giving you little bit of early tokens. And he's like, I promise I'll never sell it. I was like, cool. And I understand, like, he's allowed to sell it if he wants, but, I was like, if you want to sell it, it's really liquid. So just call me if you want to sell it. So then, of course, a week later, he just starts selling it. And eventually, we just all learn and realize that he's kind of a fraud. This other guy who employed him gave me his exit interview. And that was very disastrous. He didn't do any programming. It was just bad. He was kind of a scammer. But Default, we had 5 times as much. I actually know Default in real life, whereas I don't know Netrunner. And I was trying to give Netrunner a grant. And Netrunner came out, man. He got like $30,000, $40,000. And I think a lot of people will sacrifice their friendships and relationships for $30,000 or $40,000. And then it's like, okay, when that money's gone, now what? I'm just going to hope to get another 30 grand from somewhere. I mean, in reality, that's really not that much money. It kind of sounds like a lot. Everybody would want an extra 50K in their bank account, but the reality is, if that's what you're using to live off of, that money will be gone pretty fast. Same thing with Default. I met Default in jail. He was like a groupie. He was like, are you Martin Shkreli? Wow. And I was like, yeah, man, what's up? And he's like, you know me from the hacker scene. I was like, first of all, I've never been in the hacker scene. Maybe for like 2 minutes, just, messaging some guys, but never been in the hackers, scene at all. And I was like, yeah, man, whatever. It's cool to meet another intelligent white guy in prison. There aren't that many. So, I stick around to those guys. But we didn't even hang out in prison. I saw him a couple times. He's a weird guy. Like, you root for the underdog. And he came out of prison and he's doing this Discord trading chat. I don't know crypto that well, but I've now learned that I know it better than him. But he knows like the scene of like all the influencers and all the like new tokens that are coming out, all the meta, and that's not cryptography. That's just like degenerate cryptocurrency trading. But he does know that space, or at least he thinks he does. And he sells his advice to others, which is a pretty big red flag that I should have considered. But idiotically, I gave him 5 million tokens of Shoggoth. And within like a day, I told a few friends about Shoggoth, and it starts going up like crazy, right? And then within like a day, he starts selling it. And in fact, he nukes it all. He sells it all. And I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? And he tells his chat room to buy it. But then he doesn't tell his chat room that he's nuked the stock or the token. He sold all of it. He took it to zero. And he basically robbed his chat members. And I called him up. I was like, what's wrong with you, bro? This is wrong. I didn't even know at the time that he told his chat room because I didn't want him to do that. I wanted to keep the project private and secret until I was ready to launch the product. So he's like, okay, I'll fix it. And he goes and he buys the token, and we kind of get back to where we were. But you kind of have this irreparable harm once the whole situation. And then of course he does it again, greedily sells everything. And again, he doesn't say why. And he again lies to his chat room. He tells his chat room he sold a small amount. And I'm like, well, how'd you sell a small amount? You sold all of it. And then he lies about, well, technically what I meant was I sold a small amount, then I sold more. And it's like, what is wrong with you? You're pathological. And finally, I out him because I think he was afraid that I wouldn't be willing to do that. And of course I'm willing to do that.
And again, he made about 100K, maybe 150K, I don't know, by selling a gift. I gave it to him for free. And it's like two people where I gave them a free gift. And the only thing I ask is just like, try to hold on to it and not like dump it. And I think that's like how you can tell somebody's poor is like as soon as they get some property that's worth something, like quite frankly, it's like the lowest kind of financial asset. Like it's not that liquid, tiny market cap. It's your friend's fledgling project. This isn't 100 grand of Apple, right? You get this gift and you're like, I'm gonna sell this. And everybody else who owns this, who's waiting patiently, and then lying about it. Look, it's one thing to, and it's your friend. Call your friend up and say, look, Martin, I'm dead broke, man. I need 50K. And it's like, look, LARP is a successful trader. The successful traders that I sent tokens to, they're still holding them. I don't even look at them because they're successful. They have millions of dollars. Why would they dump some token? Obviously, this kid, he's living with his parents. He doesn't have millions of dollars. He's charging $20 for a Discord chat room. Clearly, he doesn't have millions of dollars. So the second he gets a chance to make 100 grand on something, he seizes on it. He's also got a tattoo of IONET, which is a fraudulent project. I actually made contact with a former executive of IONET who told me that the CEO is a psycho, which sounds about right. I think they're faking these as well, by the way. And I think I can expose them on that. I think that these jobs, which aren't many, there's only like 9, it's kind of cringe. These jobs are actually created by the company themselves. There's no actual client here. This whole thing's a gigantic scam.